Well, hello there. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Sociably Unsociable. Here are my hosts.
Yeah?
Here are my hosts, my partners in crime, together on the podcast right here. I'm just going to start off from the left and go to the right. We have the tantalizingly irresistible Vlad on my left.
Monkey Man number 2. Or 1, depending. We haven't decided.
We haven't decided the numerical order of our monkey men. And on my right, we have the ever here, the child of order himself, the legend, Chris.
What's good? I don't know what child of order I am exactly.
Child of lore. And me, speaking with right here, it's John.
I would like to provide a disclaimer. When we refer to ourselves as monkey men, we are not black, if that's what you were wondering.
Oh my god.
It is not a racial slur at all, if that was what you were assuming. If you weren't assuming that, then completely ignore this section.
I'm going to go on the limb and say they did not think we were black.
I'm going to go.
We sound
we don't know that.
Well, you never know. I could have like came in with a different flow, and then I'm the monkey man.
Isn't the thumbnail of the channel of like showing all of us? We can clearly see our skin tone.
Listen, man, it's a bit edited, so you never know. It could have been like, this is like a Michael Jackson situation, or
where we become white.
What is that called again? Like his disease that he had?
He had a disease?
Yeah,
Isn't that what made us... What do you mean?
He didn't. No, he didn't just randomly was like, I'm white now. Yeah.
That was what it says. Like, you thought he just turned white?
Oh no, I'm white.
Bro, if you just have the power to just randomly change skin tone at any point, that'd be insane.
Like a chameleon?
Absolutely.
You know, I watched an article saying chameleons don't actually change... I read an article, sorry. That's
you wrote an article?
Actually change their skin. And I was like, now how the fuck do they change color? And I was going to continue reading the article, but I got bored and went to go do something else. So I don't actually know if it's true or not, or if the article is bogus. But I was like, what the fuck? How do they blend? Are you going to say they turn invisible? What do you mean?
Well, have you ever seen Avengers? You know how the helicarrier the panels flip and it kind of reflects the sky, kind of?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like that.
That's crazy. At that point, it's still camouflage, though. That's still changing your color, technically.
I guess. I don't know.
That's what I hate, man. I hate scientists sometimes.
You hate scientists sometimes.
They're going to explain to me how it's technically not this, technically not that. It's like, motherfucker, when it stands on something, the color changes, right? The color I'm looking at changes. That's all I care about. Wait, you don't have to explain to me that that's not actually doing it or it's doing something else. I don't care.
So basically what Chris is saying is that he's a science denier.
Well,
listen.
Let's not go that far.
He might be agnostic, but he still believes in science. Okay, all right.
Wouldn't that be the reverse of if he's agnostic? To be agnostic doesn't mean that you don't believe in science or you question.
It's because he dictates his logic by what's it called, the that sentence where it's how do you start off all of science again? It's it starts with an H. What is that H in science? Hypothesis.
Oh, hypothesis.
It's because he bases everything on a hypothesis where he uses science and logic,
right.
But then he'll also believe in myths, which is spiritual, and it contradicts each other.
Is there a specific myth that you tie me to, John, that you think
let's see, a chakra, soul energy, essence, magic.
I don't necessarily say I believe in it. I'm just saying, it's possible.
See, it's possible. believes in hypothesis, science man over here. But then also but what if magic? Okay.
I'm just saying.
You know what's really magical? Why'd you? Never mind. I'm not. I'm not gonna say what I just saw.
Okay, what'd you see?
I saw you do that.
Oh no, because I was a little itchy. Right
okay,
there.
I thought you were. Never mind.
I'm like what?
Are you telling your skin color's magical? The beginning of the episode was very racially charged.
Oh my god!
But we're not racist. We swear.
I have a black friend. Don't worry.
listen. Oh Jesus.
Oh
Listen,
my God.
If you're listening to this in the year 2050, this is all a joke. This is all a goof. And if you guys don't care that it's a goof, then we apologize beforehand.
Future events.
Yeah, for future and or present events.
You want to know why the future is so important? Because we have the past to look onto, and thinking about the past, we could think about the past episode where you were talking. I think you were going to start talking about Dan Schneider. Is that what you were going to like?
Dan Schneider and like how like Drake Bell was molested.
Did you hear anything about that?
Well,
actually, I didn't.
Well, it was all part of the whole thing. I didn't get to start talking about it. I just mentioned sexual predators at the end. What I last mentioned was how like the fact that my autism gives me social immunity to certain social pressures, specifically from women, which may or may not be a pro and or con. But like, because I can't speak to women in like a Riz way.
I'd say it's a pro.
But I can't fall to their attempts at seduction either.
Well, when you say that you can't Riz up a woman, what makes you think that you haven't before, but you just didn't realize that? Would you say that?
I love you seem so stumped.
Would you?
Oh shit!
I believe there might have been some comments in the past episode that we did, in the past session that we had. I can't remember if that was recorded, but you were talking about Chris's charisma, and you were saying that
was the D&D.
That was the ending of the D&D, right?
Yeah.
You were making comments about his charisma and saying that he'll unintentionally talk to individuals and that he will quote unquote like riz them up. Who's to say that you also haven't rizzed up someone, because they say that, the truest form of riz is just being yourself.
Jesus. Okay. Listen, I've been told that I have this sort of condescending way of speech. Like my speech patterns are a bit condescending. So if I somehow, some way rizzed up a female human,
a young lass,
it was definitely by accident.
By accident.
And she may or may not have had problems, or have problems.
Like problems with you, or saying that like she might have some
like an extra chromosome. I'm not.
That's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say she might have some issues that happened to her in the past that might result in her experiencing other people in the future differently.
Yeah, that could definitely be it. I don't think it is, but it could be. I'm also like kind of half joking. I'm sure I've encountered / interacted with normal, innocent women. Somehow all virgins, which is not a bad thing for the record. I don't have anything against virginity.
How much do you want to go into? You're saying that. Is it just like women, or do other social norms really don't have an effect on you?
I do want to ask a hypothetical before we get, in case we're about to stray away from women. So, scenario: right. You're at you wouldn't go to a bar, so let's say you're in a class,
a VR chat.
And, that's interesting.
Okay.
I'm gonna say class because VR chat would allow people online. When you're online, you're a little more bold. So class is more stable.
Okay.
That's a question I would ask you.
Huh?
Oh, never mind. Go on.
But you find this girl cute in the corner. You've been going to class. It's like you're halfway through a semester.
Right.
You're like, you know what? Haven't talked to her throughout the whole class. I want to at least say a few things. You go over there. What's your opening line? It doesn't have to be a pickup line. What's your opening line?
I'm so bad at this. I don't go up to strangers because I don't know what they're into and I don't know what they're like. So, like, what's my opening line to this random, like, cute chick in the corner of the class? I would never speak to her. I think that's part of the issue. That, like, if I did, I would probably come up with nothing. Like, I don't have, like, damn, girl, looking all cute and shit.
You don't scheme either?
I don't know.
You know, like, if I do this, like, you know, she will have to, like, at some point confront me about this. Like, oh, you know, if I go over there and, like, drop my phone,
Like,
she'd have to give my phone back to me.
At that point, I just feel like I'm Joe from You. Like I'm like orchestrating our cute meet. Do you know? First off, do you guys know what cute meets are?
I don't know what Joe is from You.
I haven't seen You.
Okay, so
I'm using context clues to
Okay.
get.
Is
You-
You the
okay.
thing where he talks like an AI?
No, You is
No.
a show about a dude that's obsessed with this girl.
yeah, like he falls in love very easily, and he's like crazy. So he orchestrates.
Just like me.
He orchestrates the meeting, and he orchestrates the other person's life, so he becomes their love interest.
Makes me think of the Almost Friday episode where they keep going like into different people's minds
Oh.
in the shower.
Well, it's the whole thing of like, he's constantly narrating, and he's like, "Oh my god, you shouldn't be doing that." So he like sneaks in, breaks into their home, researches like what they're into, and then plants certain things and himself in order to put himself in front of this person, so this person can be like, "Oh my god, you like the same things that I do?" And he's like, "Oh my god, yeah, wow, crazy, wow."
This man is
Small world.
insane.
See,
Or-
I'm not saying go that far, but
By scheming, do you also mean something along the lines of like you figure out like which route she goes to like go home? So you plan something where like you have your friend like pretend to like mug her, and then like you'll like be there to like stop your friend from like mugging
I've
her.
had dreams about that.
So
I'm not
like,
gonna lie.
so like you're like organize something where it's like, okay, we're gonna like you're gonna pretend to like beat me up, but then I'm gonna win. But then he forgets, and then he's just like thrashing you around, and it turns out it wasn't your friend at all. It was like an actually random guy.
My friend comes at the end.
Yeah, it comes at the end. It's like, oh my god, dude, what happened? Do you mean that scheming, or the kind of scheming where like you'll figure out what she likes, and then you'll like leave bread trails to like
I
a
meant
random corner
more
of the.
a little bit kind of like what he meant in You. I'm not lying when I said I've had dreams about what you're talking about, but just the initial meeting, everything else, you know, is up to chance. But orchestrating that initial meeting to avoid having to use an opening or pickup line.
Up to pomp and circumstance.
There you go. It's
I would
pseudo circumstance.
I guess I would, because
That's the name of a new band.
like coming up like spontaneously, just like randomly going up to this like random cute girl who has never even looked my way. I don't think I would say anything lest there be like some sort of opportunity where we're like grouped up together, or like, I don't know, her car's on fire and I'm the only one around. There's these things where I'm like, there needs to be some sort of circumstance of like the stars aligning where I'm put in a position where it would make sense for me to talk to that person. Because I'm also not trying to catch a case. Because as you know, there's some women out there who is like, you go up to them and they're like, "Are you fucking sexually harassing me?" And then like you gotta be like, no, I'm actually gay. I just wanted to say that your top was cute.
Your immediate
Listen.
No, I'm actually gay. Sorry.
No, I'm just gay. I just want to say like nice shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you walk away and you just swear to yourself that you'll never do that again.
Because of the fear
Yeah.
of them saying something that's
Which it happens.
is basically
Because-
like leave me alone.
Yeah, because the whole thing is like women don't just say no.
They
Like-
say no and other stuff.
Well, yeah,
They
can't-
say no.
Sorry,
They say no in a way where I would have preferred for them just to say no or I'm not
Like-
interested.
Yeah, like
Can we just call this episode XY?
XY.
For XY chromosome?
Oh my god.
like women of course can say no. I don't mind them saying
They
no.
can.
I'm
sometimes.
just saying like they don't just say no. Like there are some
Like, you're saying there's always like an addition. Like, they're gonna make a show of it. They're gonna go tell their friends about it.
yeah, and then you're that guy. Like being like her screenshotting your chat of you shooting your shot and putting it on her Snap story.
Oh no.
Oh, that's a whole nother
That
level
was-
of like, I'm never gonna do this again.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably the only face when these are girls that,
High school.
not even high school, that associate with other people you know. Because if you're meeting a stranger that doesn't talk to anyone you know, that doesn't technically apply to you. It doesn't matter. In the sense
I
of,
still
like-
don't want to be posted on public.
Well,
I mean-
you wouldn't know.
I mean, I
You
still would
also-
rather not happen.
You also shouldn't care because those are people you're never going to associate, and also that you would never want to associate just like based on who they are.
Yeah, but it's also like even if you go up to like a girl in public and she's like, "Ew, no," like what? that hurts. I mean,
Ew, no.
that hurts. Like, because here's the thing. If they were like, "Oh, hey, no, thank you," like I'm very flattered, but no, thank you. All right, bro. Like we're good.
A formal.
We're all friends here, you know. But when it's like, what, bro?
How would you feel?
Wow. Okay. All right, Mister High and Mighty.
So it's the difference between my sincerest apologies. I thank you for your advances, but I am going to have to decline you, and I hope that your journey meets you farewell.
Was he
Versus,
asking out a queen?
yeah, versus ill, no, disgusting. And she takes a picture of you and then posts it online.
Yeah, it's
That
just
was
like,
wild, bro.
in like mid, like you being like, oh, you know, nice shoes,
Yeah,
or like
then
how are you doing? Like, are you enjoying
Yeah.
like your
like,
day?
I'm like, hey, like I thought you were cute. I just wanted to see if I could get like your number or your Instagram or something like that.
What if she says that?
And then she's like, wow.
And then-
All right.
And then that's
Ew.
when she takes a picture of you.
Yeah. And then I have to grab her phone and throw it out the goddamn window or against the floor. And I'm like, see what you made me do? Now you
You caused this. This is your fault.
now you can't call
avoiding in
for-
case. Wasn't that the whole thing?
You have to grab her by her wrist and then fling her over the desk.
like a judo throw.
Yeah, like you have to judo throw her.
Like she's like, huh. And then she like reaches her arm out to like take a picture, and I just grab her arm and fucking like snap it. in
Yeah,
half,
you
like
break it
Mortal
in
Kombat
half.
fatality.
At this point, you're way past the case. You're just like literally just assaulting somebody.
He could still win it. He could still win it.
I could say self defense.
Yeah, self defense. She was trying to destroy my online presence. I could not allow that.
Listen, this was
She was
slander.
defaming me.
She was threatening my online presence.
Just for the record, I don't actually want to hurt women.
Did you want a disclaimer on that?
Yeah,
You don't
I
need to
didn't
say
wanna-
that.
Listen, I know that one day I'm gonna be
You're gonna
like
have to
walking,
hurt a
I'm
woman.
gonna be like chilling at home, like in my Bugatti, letting like the carbon monoxide kill me. And then I'm gonna be looking at my phone on like Twitter or I guess X now, and it's gonna be like, yo, and then just gonna clip me saying I want to like snap her arm for trying to take a photo of me after brutally rejecting me.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna like end up on like TMZ, and I'm gonna have to like start running.
I don't want to get into a new topic.
Go on.
But I don't want to get a new topic, but one question I would like to ask you
Yeah.
is based on all that. Do you feel like the online presence and internet is too strong with us like right now? Do you feel like online presence is like too important and like being able to access the internet is like something that's too strong and something that we have access like too much right now?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 110%.
Because when you're in your car, just like, you know, absorbing all that carbon monoxide, waiting for like the fever dream to kick in,
Yeah.
like one of the first things that you think about is like your online presence and like people being able to like see these things and like hear these comments, you know?
I think that's largely due to cancel culture, though. Because if the cancel culture wasn't a thing, we would post whatever, right? Because like if you got embarrassed on the internet before cancel culture, you got embarrassed. Deal with it. We had without any names, without doxing anybody, we had a person in our high school that was literally recorded masturbating in the bathroom. They're fine now, I assume so. I think no one's talking about it these days, but it was posted. It actually gets posted now because of the way it goes. It gets sent everywhere, and then you apply for a job, and they're like, "You're that guy, right?" That's not how it was back then. We still had the internet. Like, you were being embarrassed amongst the people that knew you, even though it was on the internet. And then a little bit further than that, a little outreach. Now cancel culture makes it so the whole world knows. It affects your job, your life at home, and shit like that. So then cancel culture is like the biggest problem why the internet feels so powerful, per se. Because now you feel like you have to watch what you're doing in this place where people just did whatever they want before.
That's right.
So how do you feel about our online presence? Not to diverge into something.
I don't feel good about it.
You don't feel good about how strong we have like an online
Yeah,
presence?
because like things online, all things considered, don't really matter. Like if you see me in a pink tutu tomorrow online, so you know what I mean. But then
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying though.
yeah, like it doesn't matter. But it's like the people who scream really loud that make it matter.
Yeah.
Because they're screaming so loud, so everybody wants them to shut up.
You were focused on the person that's making more of a ruckus about it rather than
Yeah, because like in the year 2008, nobody gave a fuck. Like everybody was just kind of like, yeah, good for you, I guess. And like, yeah, there would be like trendy topics, like if something like major happened, like if there was some sort of humiliating thing that happened to, I don't know, like Drake or some shit like that, then it'd be like, oh wow, that's crazy, and then that would be in the whatever for like a couple months at most.
We need to get back to the meme golden age.
The meme golden age.
I miss the golden age where racial jokes were totally cool and funny. Have you ever seen?
They've never stopped being funny.
Well, I don't disagree. I do disagree. Future employer, I do. I do disagree. I'm just saying I disagree. I was just joking.
I would never.
But I was watching Rush Hour the other day, and
Your favorite?
Jackie Chan. Actually, yeah, my favorite.
Oh.
Jackie Chan straight up said the N-word, and it was like. It was funny. Like, it wasn't malicious. It wasn't crazy. Like, it was, like, I don't think we should cancel.
I get that same vibe from watching Community right now.
Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm like...
They just make racial jokes, and I'm like, you can't say that these days. And I look at the show, like, oh, it's because it came out in 2015.
Right.
Of course, because, like, the shit that they're saying, I'm on season 2. I'm like, if you say that right now, like, you're canceled. It's over.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, have you ever seen, like, Always Funny, or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I know a little bit of it.
All right, so their jokes in the early years were...
crazy.
They were not okay right now.
They were crazy.
They would not be okay right now. But they're funny.
The first episode, like a terrorist episode?
The first episode is, I think, blackface.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that really the first... Like,
yes, they do blackface.
But that was before Danny DeVito, right?
Yes. Danny DeVito
when they
comes
had
in,
like
like
really when they had like really bad production, right?
Yes, but Danny DeVito comes in like season 3 or 4.
Okay, because they
I didn't even know that. That was in the whole show. This is how you know I haven't seen it.
No, yeah.
He was later added on to the show.
Because when you like start watching it, I think like on TV, it starts off when you have good production, like a good studio.
Yeah.
But like the earliest forms of Always Sunny, it's like some guy holding a camera they like rented out for like $200, and like all the mics are bad. It's like really weird. And then like they get a whole production studio company, and then Dan DeVito comes in.
Yeah, like it was really funny, and Always Sunny had so many golden moments. But that was because they weren't afraid to take like the risks. Like the racial episode was very questionable. Like it was like, oh shit.
I didn't know that's how they did the first episode, because I know later when Danny DeVito comes in, they have like a good studio and like production team. The only episode I know where they talk about like race or they do like race stuff is when they have a dream where they all turn black.
Oh yeah,
I thought that's their first time doing that.
That was amazing though.
And then they do they have like songs and like dances, and like they have like new actors like pretending to like be them.
Right.
I thought
like I think it's funny, and in a way like when it is funny, like you kind of look past like the racial history of it, or like you can. Not excuse it. Like you don't mind it as much. Like you get past it all. Like
you can let it slide.
Yeah, like if it's in good tastes, or in good faith rather, like fine, whatever. It's like for comedy. Like White Chicks is a perfect example of like they're technically doing. I don't know what the inverse of black. I guess whiteface.
And gender swapping and also
and like racial swap.
Yeah,
but it's funny because it plays to what the movie is.
It's not hurting anyone, trying to hurt anyone, or specifically made or designed to affect anyone.
Right. It's just kind of like like I know they're not trying to do this out of malicious or racial like intent. Of course, it is racist because. It is blackface, and blackface has a history of racism, but I don't think within the context of, like, for example, Robert Downey Jr., when he did blackface for Tropic Thunder, the whole joke was that he was doing blackface, and he wasn't actually a black man, but he was so deep into his character of, like, method acting that he got surgery to make himself black and talk black to the point where even the other characters are like, "You're not black." And he's like, "We've been through so much, brother." And it's like,
bro, who you calling, bro? I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
right. And like that's
Tropic Thunder in so long.
Like it's just such a golden thing that you're like, it's funny though. Like I'm not like, oh my god, how horrendous this thing is. Like, because I know that it is not for the purpose of making fun of black people, but it is like that's not the context of what it's supposed to be, which I can appreciate. I don't think that jokes should really have many bounds. There might be some things that it's like, all right, man, it's not particularly funny, but if you can spin it in a way that it's like, yeah, it's throwing jabs at people, it works. I think it genuinely works. It doesn't have to be anything like tame. Like I know, like Dave Chappelle is a fantastic comedian, in my opinion. He makes fun of everybody.
He gets a lot of hate right now.
Yeah,
because he made fun of trans people.
Well, he's been doing that a lot.
Well, yeah, it is mainly because of that. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's homophobic and blah blah." And it's like, yeah, but he was just like making jokes, dog. Like I don't think like he like when a lot of people throw this like transphobic, homophobic stuff. I don't think the people that they're calling transphobic, homophobic are like out with pitchforks and torches trying to hunt down the werewolf. You know, like Dave Chappelle wasn't like, you know what, like screw the trans community or screw the LGBT community. He was just
the joke was.
He had several.
Well, that's the thing. It kind of turns it into like a whole witch hunt where there is no witch, there is no like mythological aspects about it. They're trying to hunt a werewolf when they don't exist, and that goes into the joke that Dave Chappelle makes. He's been making a lot of trans jokes, but none of them. But there's not a single one, nor is there a single one where he like attacks or like calls someone out directly. And the curious case of Dave Chappelle is like, if you look at his old commentary, he's always made like comedic jokes just about like what he's seen or what he's been around. His earlier jokes, they were like funny and they were always like about someone or something. And then when you watch the Chappelle show, if he wasn't talking about like himself or other people or like other people of his like color or just like homeless people or like, you know, he's talked about like crackheads and things like that. As he's gotten older, his like comedy routine has just evolved, and he's talked more about stuff that he's like bear witness to himself. Like he knows trans people and he talks to trans people, and that's why he's made like these jokes about trans people.
Actually, yeah, like one of the things that he's actually talking about in one of his comedy specials is the fact that there was somebody who was a trans person and was actually laughing at the trans jokes. Like they had a very good sense of humor, and they were a dear friend of his. Like the specials and the comedy specials were not all centered around trans people. It was centered around like various jokes, but trans people were included in those jokes, to which there was a bit of a focus on it for like a short period of time where it was just like he's gonna make fun of this group because for some reason they're like a protected group from comedy. So he was essentially like kind of like, no, like nobody's safe. I'm gonna make jokes about everybody, which he does. A lot of his jokes are also just stories of things that he's personally experienced.
Yeah, that's what John's trying to say.
So, I don't know.
He has gotten a lot more political with age, and his comedy acts turn into a lot more like what feels like he's talking to you directly about something that he's concerned about that's going on in real life. So that's like a huge comparison with his older stuff and his newest stuff. But as society goes on and it changes and it like evolves, it also changes and adapts with like the environment that it's created around it. And internet is like a huge thing that changes the society environment as like, you know, as it goes on and like norms become different and like people just become different based on like whatever is happening around them. If I could go back to what you were talking about, saying that saying that your mental who you are makes it so that you're not affected by social norms. Specifically, what you were talking about.
What do you mean by who I am? Do you want to specify a little bit?
Your superpower. That's how I was going to say. Your superpower. You were saying that your superpower makes it so that you're not affected by like
societal pressures. Yeah.
And that's why to have a clear picture on it, and that's why these interactions with women aren't a problem to you, or that they were a problem.
Very interesting episode.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm in the hot seat for now.
We're like halfway in.
I would say it's half and half. I don't think I will ever be in the predicament where a female tries to use her womanly powers against me. But
you just haven't been in the right spot.
That's right.
In the right location.
Right. But theoretically speaking, if it did, I firmly believe that I would be not only resistant but immune to them.
Okay. Also, if your superpowers,
yeah.
what social norms right now are you like immune to, or that you have seen you really don't like?
Drinking, drugs, clubbing,
smoking. Yeah.
Like I just don't care for it.
You consider that does that fall into social norms because they're like activities?
I guess
like
social activities that people intertwine themselves with.
The whole like importance of like a hoe phase.
You're not going to have your own hoe phase?
No, because that's stupid.
Do you think that your internet presence is important to you, or is it just like you're not so like connected or attached to the internet?
His internet presence? Okay, so you're specifically talking about
Wait, repeat the question.
Your internet presence. How do you care that you have an internet presence or that one exists?
I mean, it's fine. Part of me wants to be like off grid and like live in the wilderness, like fighting bears and shit. But I can live
fighting
with the
bears and shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I don't want to fight a grizzly. I don't want to fight like a black bear. Like the black bears are like the bitches of like the bears. You know, like the black bears. They're like, oh, make yourself look scary. Okay, and they just run the other way anyways. I know they can screw you up.
Bears?
Well, like. Black bears can screw you up, like 110%.
We don't know that.
No, I meant like, isn't that advice of make yourself look scary? Isn't that for all bears?
Not for grizzlies.
They're too smart.
No, not even that. They'll fight you. They'll fight you. Make yourself look big, and they'll fight you even harder.
I'll fight a bear.
It's a good challenge.
Which is what I want. I'm gonna make myself look as humongous as possible, and I'm gonna go in there with a Bowie knife and just like Rambo style. I'm just gonna slit its throat. Anyway, I'm digressing. Back to the topic at hand. I don't mind having an online presence. I think if I were theoretically to become famous, I think I would reduce my online presence because I don't want to be, oddly enough, in the public eye. I don't care for fame. Yeah, I don't really care for fame.
You don't really care for fame?
No. If I could achieve success in some way, shape, or form, that'll work for me. Whether fame comes with it or not is completely irrelevant to my mission statement.
Do you have any superpowers?
Do I have any superpowers?
Yes.
You know what? What superpowers do you think I have? And I'll elaborate based on what you. Because just going off the top, no, I don't think I have any superpowers.
Supernatural charisma.
I was really about to say, just going back what the comment Vlad said. I guess the charisma based superpower.
You have like what's a cool like Jujutsu Kaisen type name for this?
You're gonna give me a curse technique?
Yeah, you're like domain expansion center of the universe type thing.
Oh my god!
Like, or you know what? Like domain expansion black hole, like where everything just kind of like gravitates towards you because your gravitational pull is just too strong.
That does sound like a curse technique because it comes with pros and cons at this point.
Where
there's attention that I don't want.
Yeah, where you exist and the things still fall into your lap.
I mean, I think the best one that you said is the sitcom.
I was telling John when I threatened him before that I hit him with my curse technique and trap us. No, my domain expansion. Sorry, and trap us in a sitcom.
That's awful.
I want the people here to know that because of the stuff that goes on in my life, I wake up every day to a laugh track, like an intro laugh track to a sitcom. That is my alarm. I wake up to applause like I just woke up as the main character.
That's awful.
And I wake up to the Dark Knight theme song.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You know how like powerful you feel. You wake up at 7 a.m. You're tired as all hell, right? You got a little morning wood, maybe.
Maybe, depending on the situation.
And like your alarm goes off.
Yeah.
And it's just like the same music of like the tumbler crashing through walls and blowing people up. And it's like bum, bum, bum.
You're ready.
Bum, bum, and you're like, oh my god, I'm ready to fight Harvey Dent, Joker, Bane.
That's some interesting shit to wake up to at 7 in the morning.
And you wake up.
Gets the blood pumping.
And then like you're driving and you're speeding down that road, like dodging pedestrians and running past cops and stuff like that. And it's like bum, bum, and you're like, oh, you're flooring it. You're flooring it. And then of course your car doesn't have like mounted guns.
Your gun.
So you keep this going as you drive?
Yeah. Like you don't hit snooze or stop. You
keep the
you let your Bluetooth connect to your car. And then as you're driving, you don't have mounted guns on your car, obviously, for safety reasons. So instead, you pull out your gun.
That's what you think.
It shouldn't stop you.
You pull out your gun. And so when you want people to move out the way because they're blocking traffic, you just start shooting at them.
That's wild.
So they move out the way because obviously you don't have like cannons that can explode them and like make a path for yourself. So you're gonna just shoot their tires. You're gonna shoot out their tires. And as they swerve off the road into like a pool or whatever, like you're just gunning it, and you get to work, and of course you're miserable because you're at work, but you feel pumped up. You're ready to tackle any friend and or foe.
As soon as you go into the elevator and it goes to the floor where your office space has, as soon as it opens and someone says, "Hey Vlad, how's it going?" You're already put them in a 3-hit combo because you're still in the mindset that you're Batman. Right. You flip them and throw them over a different cubicle and you snap someone's neck.
Yeah, and I throw scissors like Batarang.
When you walk into your office. So as soon as his alarm starts, he goes into like a, what I understand, he goes into like a sleeper cell, like a CIA
episode of Psychosis, where
he disassociates from reality. Do you disassociate from reality when you start that applause?
A friend of mine told me they believe if I keep this going, I will start to dissociate. I will tell you, I do have inner monologue in the morning that goes.
I'm sorry. Okay, wait. This is my first time hearing this. I'm sorry. Do you talk to yourself in like a sitcom voice announcer?
Not like that per se. Kind of like in a sitcom, usually when someone is waking up, you do hear their thoughts. Because it's usually a thing of like, oh, the episode is starting. I do think in a very like dramatic way in my head on going. It's usually complaining about like I gotta get to work, blah blah blah. But there's kind of like, oh, I did this last night. But there's like an inner monologue of what has happened the night before and why am I waking up right now to this alarm, which does add to the sitcom thing sometimes. I don't know if that's association where I'm like starting to like sync up my thoughts with the fact that I'm being woken up like I just started an episode of a sitcom, but I wouldn't say I'm dissociating.
You know what? Just see what happens. Keep doing it.
All my alarms now have the applause sound.
You know what I mean? Also the monologue. I want you to get even crazier with the monologue. I want to see what happens if you actually start disassociating.
I'm gonna start planting like
cameras?
Not cameras, like tripwires, so that the applause happens anytime someone enters the apartment.
That's awful.
As they trip.
So I meant more like just so it activates. But you know what? I say trip too.
Have you?
Don't add to it.
Have you seen that thing where it's like Alexa, like an intruder, and then they start playing like the Skyrim like noise, and it like turns red? Have you ever seen that?
I have not. That sounds
You've never
fire.
seen that?
That sounds
He
fire.
connects LED lights and then like Google to like his entire house, and he says an intruder is here, and then Alexa just goes, "You should have never come," and it starts playing like the Skyrim fighting, and it goes red, like the entire house goes red.
I would fucking love that. To fucking set that up in the apartment.
Do you think if you command Alexa to summon a demon, she could?
I
Absolutely.
want AI to get to that point.
I think Alexa could.
Because see, I have a theory, right? Like to summon. Why am I talking about this? Why am I bringing this up? In order to summon a demon, do you need a soul?
Technically, no.
No, not really.
It's usually implied that there's like, it's smaller things. It's usually like blood or like possessions, but it's not usually the soul. Usually the
Sure,
demon's
but, like,
being summoned.
The blood comes like from life. Like AI is technically just
It's
an object. It's like it's.
Oh,
it's an
okay,
object.
okay. You mean like the person summoning it?
like
Yeah.
he's
Well,
saying
it depends because like, you ask Alexa to do it, so is Alexa the tool? Therefore, like the demon's coming to see you, even though Alexa summoned the demon, because then it wouldn't matter. Because the thing is, like, why is Alexa summoning the demon? Alexa's only going to summon the demon if you ask. Alexa will never make the decision to summon the demon itself.
Well, like, what if you're like, hey Alexa, like,
summon a demon.
summon a demon, JK though, like in game,
Yes.
and then she's like, all right, and like she just starts
Ab-
fucking.
Absolutely, Alexa would be able to summon a demon, and she could. And that demons don't need like the conjurer to have a soul or the summoner to have a soul. It's that demons interact with the living a lot more than like
Alexa
random
will summon
objects
the demon,
or
but the demon will seek you out.
yeah, a demon is always seeking out the living because
Not me though.
demon would never seek you out.
No.
Do you believe that you would be able to tame a succubus?
No.
You wouldn't be able to tame a
You
succubus.
know,
I
that
would-
reminds me of, I already told John this earlier. So, you know, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh my god.
And I've made sure to never save scum. As in, like, I would never go back and change something, right? I did it one time today, and it was specifically because Mizora, Will's demon, wanted to fuck, and I really wanted to know what happens if you fuck her. But I didn't want that to cause any problems with Will and Shadowheart, so I was like, I have to save scum. Because I have to go back and undo the choice. But I'm going to just go through it completely, because I want to know what the fuck happens. And also, I want to see how elaborate the sex scene is, which was a very interesting sex scene. It was not what I expected at all.
Like in a good way or.
Well, she puts like marks on your soul, which I wasn't expecting. So there are, I guess, I don't know if it's a downside or an upside because I undid the choice too fast. I don't know if something continues. She also like takes you to hell, kind of, and like entices you with like power, which I guess is the whole thing that she's about to like put something on your soul. Then she fucks you. Like at some point she sets you on fire, but you're not burning, and it's like to overflow you, like fill you up with like infernal power, which makes you crave like makes you lust over her, but also like convinces you to, depending on your choices, obviously, to like crave the power as well that comes with fucking her. So I guess it's to give you an addiction as well. Because she's a demon, I suppose, or a devil in D&D. So it was weird because you go through that whole thing first, and then you fuck her. And you fuck her while flying, which is interesting.
That's always fun.
Isn't that your dream?
No.
Oh,
I feel like that would be very uncomfortable because you don't have any leverage.
yeah. Well, you have magic.
They do.
Well,
Yeah.
they do, but like
They're like grabbing you by your like
right. So
waist.
would it be like you're just essentially having sex with a
I
hawk?
didn't realize
Yeah.
that just says spoiler alert for anybody that's still playing Baldur's Gate 3.
We'll just.
Do you consider that them emasculating you because they're like putting a lot of effort and like force on you? They're
I'd
like,
let a demon emasculate me. The fuck?
go on.
Why do you think I made those choices?
How did your girlfriend Shadowheart feel about you being with a demon?
She's upset that you didn't talk to her about it, but she's okay with it.
I'm sorry.
So the conversation with Shadowheart goes like, I was a little scared. This is why I saved scum. Well, it was actually more because of Will, not because of Shadowheart.
Oh, so you don't care about the girl that you're a partner with. You care
Well,
more.
it's because like Shadowheart's responsive, like, oh, did you have like fun last night? You know, because I was asleep, but you don't look like you got that much sleep. And then she talks about the sense of like, you know, Where I was raised in a cult technically, so like polyamory isn't really anything new to me. But I would prefer that we, as a couple, talk about it rather than you just going around fucking people. It'd be cool if I had the heads up, and then also basically think of like, also I'm still your main companion, so you forget that there is gonna be problems, and then you can manage the conversation whatever you want. But so when that happened, I was kind of like, I guess I don't have to do anything. But then Will was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" So then I saw the like approval thing go down. I was like, "Shit!" So I just say scum that went backwards. I just want to see what it was like to fuck the demon. Because I am like, this is supposed to be a self-insert run, and I was like, would I do this?
Self-insert run. That's interesting.
And in my head, I'm like, it's hard to decide. What would I do in the situation? I think the thing is, I would fuck a demon. I'm sorry, there's no lie to that. I would fuck that. If a fucking demon came, was naked with wings, and was like, we're about to do some crazy shit, I'd be like, absolutely. But Chris would not do it in a relationship, and that's why I have to save scum, because technically that is not what I would do. I would not cheat to do it.
John, how do you feel about the fact that Chris would basically sell his soul to a demon?
I didn't know that was happening.
Just to have sex with said demon.
She said no such thing.
But still has the moral aptitude to be like, I would never cheat on my spouse though. Or like my partner in crime.
Well, that's the thing. He did it first, knowing that he already had a partner. And then when the partner was fine with it, it was like...
I had the knowledge that I could go back and undo it. That would not happen in real life, so I'd have to actually make the choice. Well,
you see, Vlad, a win is a win and game is game. I'll do the same. But not if I had a partner, and especially not if especially not if it's the demon that's making my friend's life horrible.
No, I would not killed Will's dad, but like, oh wait.
And you banged her? Wow. Fucking that! It's all in the past thing, huh? Really focused on that.
I was just curious, bro.
I would never succumb to the temptations of the temptress.
Me, I would absolutely.
Have you seen Will's portrait art?
Will, like when he's in his demon form?
No, his portrait, like the promotional.
When you're like loading in, you see her in the back, right?
Are you telling me you wouldn't bang that?
Absolutely would.
Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Listen, she's hot because she's made out of hellfire. Now. Me being a good Christian boy, albeit I do need to cut back on the cursing. I would never succumb to the ails of such a creature, no matter how.
Okay, we're talking about Vlad and D&D. So God, like Jesus, doesn't exist. Well, I guess you'd be following a different religion, right?
Right. The most Jesus equivalent of Baldur's Gate, I suppose.
I like to assume that it transcends each interdimensional version of Vlad. He still loves Jesus, but he doesn't know who Jesus is.
I just intrinsically know.
Yeah, it's like being a Nexus being.
So when you say like you were born in the D&D world, we're going with the thing of like you most likely be a paladin.
Sure.
Okay. So you being a man of God, literally in this game, you have a magical God and holy powers. And this demon approached her and it's like, yo, I would love some fucking Vlad cock. Where are you going? Like, what do you say? And they tell you, because technically this is how I got tricked by it.
Verbatim?
Well. They tell you, like, there's nothing in return. Like, there's no catch. I just want to fuck. Because I've had... Verbatim, the words that she used on me is, I've just had my eye on you, and I simply want the same thing I'm giving you in return, which is ungodly pleasure. That's so it's like there's no, I'm not desecrating your god or whatever. I'm just offering you some demon punani.
I would still be like, no, bro, what do you think I am, a hoe?
Okay, what about monster punani? Is it because that it's a demon associated with whole evil and cold? Yeah, but like, what if it looks like a demon, but it's not a demon, it's just a monster, and it has no associations to like hell or like hellfire, like a fiend, or a tiefling.
A tiefling I'd be fine with.
Tiefling's different. I would fuck. Anyway.
Go on. Let's talk about the different tieflings that you would fuck.
Like tieflings.
The new topic. What D&D races would we fuck?
We are not talking about that right. Maybe next episode.
A tiefling is a bit of a unique case because it is a human, but they were just born
humanoid.
They are technically half humans, no?
No,
they are half humans. Yeah.
You sure?
You know how tiefling is
Because I've read that they have like lineage of like demons, and it's basically like a
is it-
demon that basically like cools down, become like cools down. It's basically a demon that just like as millennia went on, it became less than a demon, but it still has the heritage of a demon. That's why.
Depends what edition, but currently in 5th edition, tieflings are made from a devil, not a demon. A devil having sex with one of your ancestors down the line. And then it becomes like a thing of a gene that can show up sometimes.
Yeah, because it's kind of like Killer Croc.
Excuse me?
Yes, and it's like Killer Croc, and I see the comparison there.
Because
Killer Croc has human DNA in him, just like how a tiefling has human DNA in it.
He has like reptilian like genes for whatever reason.
It's a mutation.
He's like a person, but he's like reptilian.
Okay.
So it's like a tiefling. So like in that regard, like because they're not, the tiefling person is not voluntarily like, yeah, I am a spawn of Satan. He's just like, yeah, like I just look like this, but I don't. Like I'm not sacrificing goats in some back alley.
Can I
fuck a shifter?
Which ones are those?
Those basically like cat girls.
Can she look like me but has a vagina?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. What's a shifter again? I'm thinking of I'm thinking
shifter. They're half lycanthropes.
half lycanthrope. Absolutely. I mean, wait. Self-reported.
Now, the question then becomes is like, are you a furry at that point? Like, are you into furry?
That's exactly why I stopped what I was saying.
See, but this is why. Because there was always cat girls before there were furries.
Okay, but why are cat girls?
Why
are cat girls attractive? Why is like also being a cat attractive?
Are they?
Yeah, I'm not super into cat girls, so technically there's a question you can answer more than me.
Are they cat girls in the sense of like the cat girls with just like the ears and maybe like a tail, but they look human otherwise, or they are cat people?
They can, given the name shifter, they can go from the first one to the second one.
Okay. Now the question is like, which one do they prefer to be, and then would you be okay with that?
Well, usually they'll always be in the first one. Like
which is just like
the changing state is like a fight or flight thing. Like it's when they're defensive, I guess you'd say.
Is it only like animals?
Shifters?
Yeah, shifters. So shifters have humanoid and then animal-like characteristics about them.
It is literally, if a werewolf fucks a human, it doesn't like come out right. So they can't go full werewolf or they can't go full.
So it's not that they
whatever.
It's not that they shift into something, but it like they have an appearance of like they have animalistic.
No, they can shift. Like, have you never looked at the shifter race?
I think I have, but I always confuse that as like the. I don't know if it's doppelganger, but it's something where like they could change their like facial expressions. So changelings, yeah, shifters and changelings.
Changelings can change to anything, any humanoid.
But shifters could basically like do like a lycanthrope, turn into like a.
I'm gonna use werewolf to keep it simple. So like, there's a werewolf. Werewolves can obviously go into the full werewolf form, but they have a kid, so you got a shifter. Shifter is born with like slightly like they'll have the ears or something like that. And then when they're angry, they can go into kind of like a thing where they'll get the claws and like the teeth, but they can't fully change. They don't have that full ability. They just turn into like a more werewolf state.
Yeah.
And they can go back to like their more human state, and they shift between those two. So that's like what it is per se.
Now you're asking if I would copulate with a
absolutely
with a shiftling. See, there's some. Is it? Are there? Does it raise any questions of like, is that bestiality?
Well, this is a fantasy world,
so no.
So there is no ideology of like, what if this creature that we've like that everyone known as was humanoid? It's more of like, imagine if you see someone
because they have the intelligence of not a beast. Because bestiality, part of the reason it makes it bad is that animals can't consent.
You don't know that.
Well, I guess you're not wrong. While this would be a creature that was actively flirting back with you. Hopefully, otherwise it'd be.
Speaking of consent, so how did Drake Bell feel about not giving consent?
Oh yeah, I should probably talk about this.
We circled all the way back.
Speaking of consent,
so Have you guys, by any chance, seen Quiet on Set yet?
No.
The documentary.
I have not.
I've heard a little bit about it.
Didn't know it was a thing.
So it came out recently, and essentially what the documentary is, it's exploring the, I guess you could say, the dark behind the scenes of all these beloved Nickelodeon shows, because it was primarily revolving around Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider and some other shady characters, and I was flabbergasted to say the least, because I was like, yo, Nickelodeon was wild. And there's a part where one of the people like being interviewed, they were like, yeah, you know, Nickelodeon essentially became the Hollywood for kids. And I immediately thought, the Hollywood for adults is not good already. That is a flaming cesspool of just bad things going on in Hollywood. I can only imagine what happens when you introduce kids to that equation. Because Harvey Weinstein was not great. We can all agree. All the drugs that most actors do in Hollywood, probably not great. And the destructive, self-destructive things that they do, not great. So what happens when you take all of that and you introduce kids into it? You get pedophiles and sexual predators. Which, let me tell you, my oh my, I don't know what was going on with background checks like back in the early 2000s, but boy oh boy. Yeah, basically. But it kind of just reinforced my idea of like entertainment, being in the entertainment sphere, it's just gonna end up crushing you, and it's better to just do like a movie or a show or whatever and stay away from all the things that lifestyle is gonna come with, because it will eventually destroy you because of the people that you're surrounded with. Like Dan Schneider, like, just had so many things wrong with him where he was like sexist and he was doing like perverted stuff, doing like sexual innuendos, mind you, with kids. Like, well, not like with kids, but I mean like the shows would feature a lot of kids either going through or doing things that would be otherwise very questionable, or downright illegal.
Absolutely.
So, for example, I'm sure you guys are all aware of his foot fetish.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That was, like, in the 4th episode, they're taking a look at, like, Victorious.
I was literally about to say.
That is, like, one of the most glaring, like, all right, this man had a fetish. This man was, like, sexualizing these kids.
I mean, documentary, I have seen a lot of things from Victorious, so they're like, yeah, obvious, like, foot fetish right here.
You could literally start the entire conversation with Dan Schneider is a weirdo, and look at Victorious, especially Ariana Grande's character, what he did to those girls on set.
You know how Jeanette McCurdy, like, she like completely left acting?
Yeah.
Okay. Part of the reason, or actually most of the reason, is because of Dan Schneider / her mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's part of her mom.
Yeah, but Dan Schneider played a big role in that because he was effectively abusive. Like, he would be calling her names like idiots and stuff like that. Like, he would go around like messing with her and shit like that. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this fever dream, but once upon a time, Jeanette McCurdy's character, Sam from iCarly,
Sam and Cat,
and Ariana Grande,
oh my god,
who was Cat from Victorious,
I never watched it.
Had a spin-off show. Now, in that show, there are countless like scenes where Ariana Grande is doing very questionable stuff. Obviously, like, there's the foot stuff, but there's also like the thing when she's like hanging, like, kind of like she's on her back, like hanging like off the bed a little bit and just dousing herself with water and like and you're like, all right, this is a little weird. And then there's one where she has like she puts like 2 tomatoes in her bra, like she's not wearing the bra but like in a bra. Now that's especially weird because in Nickelodeon and Kids TV, the only time they would show underwear, so to speak, was always like white baggy like briefs. Like it was never like, oh yeah, boxers or tidy whities. It was always like these baggy granny panty
documentary.
Like
Charlie was talking a lot about it,
but there was never like any like panties or bras or anything like that. So that was kind of major when she was putting like 2 tomatoes in a bra for like a scene or whatever. It's a bit weird. Actually, no, it's very weird. There was another scene where she was trying to squeeze juice out of a potato.
I think I actually
of
remember
which
this
she was holding it in simplest form like a wiener. And just like squeezing it, she's like,
I do remember
huh.
this episode.
Which, believe it or not, there's quite a few shows where there is like a lot of shit going on that is very reminiscent of them performing a sexual act on a dick.
On an object.
Yeah.
On a member.
And then, obviously, there's the whole Drake Bell situation, which I don't know if you guys heard, but recently he actually came out, actually on that show, to speak about his experience. So I don't know if you know, but Drake Bell's life started kind of spiraling in recent times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where,
Quite literally. You mean Drake Campana?
no, Drake Bell.
That's
But
his new name. You know that, right?
wait, what?
He changed his last name to Campana.
Campana? Why?
He went. He left to Mexico.
Yeah, he lives in Mexico technically now.
It's because he was facing allegations. Well, not.
He did it a little bit before that.
Oh, he basically went to Mexico because there were he did things with underage girl.
Anyways. Essentially, yeah, he came on the show to talk about his experience. And this was around the time of, like, when Drake and Josh was starting. So there was a guy apparently named Brian Peck who...
Is he related to
No.
Josh? Oh, yeah.
No. I mean, I think not. Probably not. But Drake Bell's dad was noticing that this Brian Peck guy was getting, like, a little too touchy with Drake around the time that he was, like, 13, 14 years old. And he didn't like that. And he, like, kept on, like, being touchy with Drake over and over again. And it would be, like, caressing his arm and type shit. Like, it would be stuff where it's like, if you saw your kid being touched like that by, like, a 40-year-old man, you'd be like, all right, that's a red flag. However, something that's very interesting about this entire, like, industry is the fact of, like, some people will be like, oh, well, what about the parents? Why didn't the parents step in? And it's that in that industry, it's like the parents are being gaslit to be either moved out the way or to become completely docile. Because Drake Bell's dad went to, like, the higher ups and they were like, hey, this Brian Peck guy, he keeps touching my kid, and, like, this is weird. And apparently, like, the higher ups had told him, like, oh, well, Brian Peck, he's gay. Maybe it's weird for you because you're, like, homophobic and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they were like, maybe you're just homophobic. Maybe Brian's just, like, touchy-feely, like, more on the touchy-feely side.
Is that what he said in the documentary?
Yeah, like, his dad said, like, that's what he was told by, like, the higher ups.
Christ.
And he was
been like, okay, I don't give a fuck.
and his dad, like, kept bringing it up to, like, other people on stage or on set, and they kind of, like, same thing. They kind of just ostracized him, and Brian Peck essentially drove a wedge between Drake Bell and his dad, so he can take the role of his dad in the sense of he's gonna be his kind of caretaker, and he's gonna drive him to auditions, and he's gonna take him to Disneyland. So essentially, like, he would, according to the documentary and Drake Bell's dad, this Brian Peck would show up anywhere that Drake was, like, anywhere, and it just kept escalating and escalating and escalating until, like, Drake was like, oh, I don't want my dad to be my manager anymore. I want my mom. But apparently his mom was not very present. So the Brian Peck guy took sort of the reins. And it wouldn't be, like, uncommon for him to stay the night at Brian Peck's home. But apparently one morning, Drake Bell, he's like 15 years old. He woke up to essentially, like, Brian Peck molesting him. Now, something else that's very interesting that the documentary highlights is that in the entertainment industry, there's a lot of power imbalance. You know, where it's like even
That's pretty known, to be honest.
yes, but like you don't grasp it in your head at first because you're like, oh well, if I was in that position, I'd be like, bro, get the hell away from me. I would fight them. Blah blah blah. But what we don't understand is that a lot of these people were writing their entire career and in some cases their family's financial success on like making it in showbiz.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a lot to give up.
like there was a lot of things where like if they screwed up or they got on somebody's bad side, it would not only be like the loss of like, oh, I lost my part on this show, but it would be like the end of my career because now like nobody wants to work with me because these people have like connections in every like aspect of showbiz. So if they did screw up, they would be like, they would essentially just lose their entire career and have to like start from square one if they can ever start again. Period.
Yeah.
And
Don't look left. Don't look right. Bite your teeth. Don't say anything. Look forward and listen and follow the directions.
It's exactly like that because the whole thing was, oh, I just got to suck it up because if not, I don't want to lose my job because it's all an opportunity. I just have to suck it up, deal with this for now, and then hopefully in the future I get to where I want to be and I don't have to deal with this anymore. And that happened not only with the kids, but it also happened with the parents, and it also happened with some of the adults that worked, like with Dan Schneider, for example, where the whole thing was like, I kind of stayed in my place because I didn't want to lose my job and I didn't want to lose my career. And so like Dan Schneider would get away with a lot of things because there's this sort of power imbalance. And Dan Schneider also kind of knew that because he was the golden goose for Nickelodeon. So he knew, realistically speaking, he wasn't going to get fired anytime soon.
Yeah, I think he produced like almost all the shows we watched.
Like all the major shows that you can think of from Nickelodeon. I mean, like I'm talking like iCarly.
iCarly, Drake and Josh, Amanda Show.
All that I want to say.
Obviously Victorious.
Zoe 101, Victorious. Like those are already like
Zoe 101.
He was Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
He
like
didn't do Nasty Classified though.
that is true. That is true.
That's what
But
it
he
is.
even did Good Burger. He's in Good Burger for crying out loud.
Out there.
But like yeah, he had all these hits. So he really was the cash cow for Nickelodeon. So he really did have a huge amount of power because they weren't going to let this cash cow go. Not to mention around that time, like Disney Channel was beginning to compete with Nickelodeon. So they were like Dan Schneider was like the pillar that held up Nickelodeon, and Dan Schneider I think knew that. But back to the whole like Drake thing. Apparently, yeah, he was getting molested and raped by this Brian Peck guy. And part of the reason why he didn't speak up or get the guy arrested sooner was because it's the same thing. Brian Peck had connections with so many directors, producers, filmmakers, that he was like, if I get on Brian's bad side, I lose out on all these opportunities, if not my entire career. And the other thing was like Brian Peck would use manipulation tactics such as like, oh, I don't know what came over me, like I'm very sorry, like this will never happen again. But of course it did happen again and again and again and again. Eventually, like, it comes out, not publicly, but Brian Peck apparently gets arrested, and he has a lot of support from a lot of higher ups in like the entertainment industry. Some from like major actors to producers, directors, like the whole shebang. And they support him, and they write like letters of not recommendation of
Character.
of character to the judge to like lighten his sentence. And
Didn't even know you could do that.
apparently you can.
I mean, hey, when you have a lot of money, I'm pretty sure you could do anything.
Yeah, like I said, like he does have connections to all these people. In fact, he ended up getting convicted. He registered as a sex offender. He spent, I think, 16 months in jail, so over a year, and that's like a year and 4 months.
Oh, good.
But afterwards, you'd think like, oh, that's the end of his career.
Absolutely
he can never. He ended up getting hired by Disney Channel to work on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. So it's like, not only did he,
Damn, I love Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
yeah, and the thing is, actually, the two producers of Sweet Life and Zack and Cody were two of like the people who like wrote like one of those letters of character. Even going as so far to say like they would love to work with him again because he's just such a sweet guy. Apparently, the fuck not. And in the documentary, they say like, yeah, if they had known what he had actually done, they would have not said that. But it's like, I mean, bro.
If you're going to jail, you should assume like, maybe
Yeah, exactly. But apparently, like, yeah, he gets arrested on that stuff. And Drake Bell, obviously, like, that's an extremely traumatic thing to go through, especially at such a young age, and in showbiz, that he just ended up spiraling into drugs and alcohol in order to essentially drown out his sorrows. And eventually, like, it just gets worse and worse for him, even going so far as to, like, lose his house, and filing for, like, bankruptcy. Which I just thought it was very sad, but like he wasn't like the first pedophile that's mentioned inside the documentary. Like there was actually another guy who had apparently sent a picture or emailed a picture of himself jerking off, and like wrote like, "Oh, this is how I get when I think of you." And mind you, this is like so like some little girl, like she's like 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that age range. And it's like, ew, bro, why? But like the whole thing, he was like the PA assistant, like so the production assistant. So he was in charge of like essentially walking the kids like through like the set and stuff like that, and just kind of making sure that like they were okay. He ended up being a pedo. So, I guess well, I don't know if you guys have anything to say, but in essence, it's just I found the documentary like very interesting because it's just like, man, like show business and entertainment is just such a dark field to get into, and it always crushes you. Like there's very few actors that manage to like do a show, a movie or whatever, and then keep out of the Hollywood sphere altogether. Like they don't do interviews, they don't like, and if they do an interview, it's every once in a blue moon. Like they're not in the limelight. They're not showing up to the parties.
Like Keanu Reeves.
Like Keanu Reeves, Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
Like
she's doing new scenes now, but yeah.
I would have to look into it, but Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt is an interesting one.
Is he out of the? Is he out of like this?
He is, but isn't, because like don't they have like 13 like adopted children?
Well,
like him and Angelina Jolie.
Is it the conversation like out of the spotlight, or has never
not out of the spotlight?
Was like lucky and like never had to involve himself with any of the crazy stuff that happened in Hollywood.
Yeah, like that. Like they don't go to like the big parties, and they don't go to like the big events, and they just kind of like live their life quietly. Like Jack Nicholson. Have you heard of Jack Nicholson in recent times? No.
No. Oh, well, he's an old man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he even doing anything anymore?
Well, no, but also like you don't hear him in like interviews or anything like that anymore. Sylvester Stallone is another one. Like he's kind of just chilling.
Man's also old.
Yeah, but he's still.
Who'd you say?
Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, Sylvester Stallone, old.
Yeah, he's old, but like at the same time, like he's not in the limelight that frequently. Mm-hmm. I guess you could say because of his old age, but still, like he just doesn't want to be in that. Although he does have a reality show, and all his daughters are hot, surprisingly.
So that's just Stallone?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He has a.
No.
Yeah, I think it's like the Stallone family or something.
Of course, he has a reality show.
Why does he have okay.
I don't know if it's still going or not, but I know I do remember seeing something of to that effect.
That man has his own reality TV show.
Yeah, and he has like 3 or 4 daughters.
Okay.
I will tell you, end the conversation of Hollywood is absolutely like horrible, like corrupt. Have you ever seen The Boys?
Yeah,
I
the
love
boys.
I love the boys.
The
The
Boys?
boys, I would say, are like the most accurate representation of what Hollywood
Yeah.
technically is.
That's where The Boys based off like its entire show of. It's just the absolute criminal activity that like Hollywood has like become or it started off with like since its inception.
It extends past Hollywood because the boys covers like Hollywood politics, the government.
Well, like they're all basically the same thing because you have like
I would say like they're all, even in real life, they're all intermingled.
Yes.
I would say like the main thing of The Boys is that to the public, superheroes are like these
They're
celebrities.
yeah.
And the whole thing is like, oh, hey, like your ratings are down, or, you know, you need to do this press conference to do that to get your ratings up or to have more viewers or blah, 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 which is very accurate of Hollywood. And not to mention, like, the lives and the type of characters that these people are behind the scenes are accurate. I would say Starlight is also very accurate to somebody who's getting into show business and being taken advantage of. These people in show business are, like, dealing with all these crazy things of essentially twisting and warping who you are into like some sort of weird, grotesque role model for other people, if that makes sense. Of course, like politics does play into it, but even I would say that would be reflective of real life as well, because even a lot of celebrities are getting political as well.
Yeah, the whole thing is like the politics comes because it gets weird because since they're superheroes, the politics are intermingled in a different way. Because, for example, like a lot of the subplot in season 1 is that he's trying to make Homelander marketable to the point as a way to sell superheroes as a contract for the military, which is where the politics comes in there. So he keeps using Homelander as like Homelander. Because remember, Homelander's supposed to go. He sends Homelander on a mission. Which I believe Homelander fucks up because he kills too many people or something like that.
Yes, I want to say.
Or I think he let a suit out. He let a suit go.
What was it that you said again? They wanted to like push heroes into like this society.
The military, yes, he's using,
military.
He's using Homelander's fame and power to push superheroes for the military.
Yeah.
Well, I think they did that. They don't do that now, of course, but I would say they did that back then. Like during World War I and World War II, where they would use movie stars to kind of promote propaganda.
I mean, yeah. What I was gonna say is like if you want to know anything about Hollywood in terms of like it's what you can see as like a criminal regime, you literally just watch The Boys because it's like a 1-for-1, including like all the politics. Like Hollywood has always had propaganda. A lot of the actors have always been like political. They've always had like ties to like political issues and just like the types of movies that they would release and like come out would always have to do with is this safer right now, or like let's make more movies like based on this, like if you want to know anything about Hollywood, you watch The Boys, and if you want to know anything about like Nickelodeon or Dan Schneider, I feel like you watch Gen V. Because like those, there's like a child actors and like being able to like feel that pressure.
I think they're in college.
Yeah, they're in college, but there's one segment where it has a little bit to do with like a child's like fame like growing up, because a lot of them also like in becoming like a district superheroes or superheroes for like a city, a lot of them like have to. Isn't there classes in Gen V where it's like a superhero advertisement or superhero acting, so that you know how to like do a good performance and like the way that you need to be and like the way that you need to act for like the cameras and like the spotlight when you become a superhero, and like your TV shows and your product placement. It's horrible and it's awful.
I do want to give a disclaimer that we're saying this is the best and 1-for-1. I'd say for people that consume our type of media, because I'm pretty sure there's obviously someone that probably doesn't watch any superhero stuff. They could probably recommend some fucking show that fucking. You want to know something that's super off? Super. I forget the English fucking translation. Oshi no Ko, the one that's about the
the idols
and the kid. That show's also very good to show like how Hollywood is, because
that's Japanese like idol.
Yeah, they're Japanese like their whole show business, but a lot of things like there's an episode where I like the episode because the main character, because the whole thing is like the main character is the kid. A lot of the show's misleading and it makes you think the mom is the main character, but the kid's the main character. And he's trying to use like the ins and outs of Hollywood and like the dark side of Hollywood to his advantage. There's a whole episode that explains on why shows like Riverdale exist, on why these bad shows keep getting made, and he explains the whole process and why that's a thing. So like they do delve into some things, and it's just like it's essentially money. So it's like it's you have to watch. I don't remember specifically, but he does go more in depth like why they keep making shows that they know are bad.
Which is true, because something that I guess is like one of the main takeaways that you take away from the documentary is that part of the reason why these kids were treated so harshly and why there was such like thin ice, and you have to like be behaved and you have to do your best and you have to like, you can't talk back to this person, you can't push back on this person. It's because of the essence of you are just a product, and if you halt and like if you are being difficult or you can't execute this, you are essentially putting everybody's livelihoods at risk, and like you're the thing that's hindering not only like your performance and your gain, but your family's gain and all of us, like everybody's like gain. Because if a movie doesn't come out or a show doesn't come out, none of y'all are getting paid.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
you only get like the base payment of whatever your contract is. It's
right.
Like
yeah.
And for
usually isn't enough.
Yeah, and not to mention like a lot of these kids, they're kids. They're not getting paid like millions of dollars or anything like that. So it's not like, oh, like the movie didn't get made, boo-hoo. It is a thing of like, oh yeah, I need to put on my big boy pants so I can get paid by the end of this whole thing. Of course, if it's like a show, they're getting paid like per episode and stuff like that. But this thing still stands of these kids, and not even only kids, because even in the in like actual Hollywood, people who like get into that industry end up going through the whole thing of like, yeah, you are literally just a product that needs to make us money, and if you don't, then we don't need you and we're going to throw you out. And if you make this harder than it needs to be, you can say bye to your career entirely.
There are a million kids out there that want to be in the same position that you are, and in order to get to where you want to be, you got to trample everyone that's in front of you, and you got to be the one that has a success. Which I love that type of being able to raise a kid up like that.
The I guess the more academic term would be called social Darwinism of like.
Damn.
And I'm not even joking. That is an actual like
I know it's a term.
the social Darwinism of like survival of the fittest is like, yeah, you're gonna have to you're gonna sacrifice everybody else for your gain, and that is really what the essence of Hollywood and kids Hollywood is. Because you're telling me that Disney could not vet out a pedophile? You're telling me like, oh, they couldn't figure it out. Their background checks were just not that good. You're telling me Disney Channel let a known sex offender work with children after being convicted?
I guess that's one of the good things about cancel culture in society now is, now they're more abrupt. Like, they're more avoidant of things like that, because now it looks, cancel culture does make things look bad on the whole company, not just the person these days, which is why they go a little too far and then try to get rid of people like James Gunn for saying something like 5 years ago.
It's also because a lot of CEOs don't care. They make money and then like they continue on.
Yeah, a lot of like these companies and studios, they genuinely don't care. Of course, when documentaries like these come out, they do the whole dog and pony show of like, no, we take any complaints seriously and we always launch an internal investigation. But let's face it, when it was happening, I don't think anybody cared. And I don't think anybody questioned.
I will give the warning that we probably need to. So
Yeah, I was
for 2 reasons.
I was really about to say we're getting a little close to time, so before we end it, do we have any closing comments?
Listen, man.
Not necessarily, no. Because I was going to throw in a topic, but just a quick opinion we can use as our closing statement. So what do you guys think about Marvel 1943?
Is it actually a game or a movie?
I don't know.
I heard that it's a game.
So it's a game. If it's a game, then the trailer looks amazing. If it's a movie, it looks like ass.
My closing comments.
Such an interesting like dichotomy there, where it's like if it's a game, totally okay. If it's a movie, nah.
Because I don't want to watch a full movie of whatever that was.
It looks interesting.
It looks like they just took cutscenes of what's supposed to be in the game and put it in a trailer, but it looks like they're trying to market it as a movie.
The only I'm probably not going to buy it just because of the fact of like I don't seem too interested, and like I don't have like a connection to these two characters or the time zone unless it turns out to be one of the like greatest classics of when it comes out, like one of the best beat 'em ups. I'll probably give it a shot, but I have no interest in it.
I would say that I'm kind of burnt out of the superhero genre at this point. If it plays well, then amen. But I don't think I'd buy it simply because it's a Captain America / Black Panther game. If it is a game, they confirmed that it's a game, right?
He's saying it's confirmed. The trailer didn't confirm.
I saw like a random Instagram thing that was like, it's a game.
We'll take that with a grain of salt because
the Skydance logo confuses me. That's a movie company.
Oh.
Yeah. And regardless, either way, like I'm kind of burnt out. Like if the gameplay is good, because I'm also kind of tired of all of these superhero IPs essentially being like, hey, we're a superhero IP, so you should buy us, like a Suicide Squad or Avengers, which were not great.
Yeah, or
they weren't that good.
Yeah, but because they used the IP of like, hey, like, yo, this is like the Avengers game, or this is, the Suicide Squad game in the Batman universe. It's like crazy, wow. And then you play them and they turned out to be dog doo-doo. I don't think superhero games, being superhero games, are going to be enough to sell me on them anymore.
No, absolutely
it never
not.
was for me. I usually look up like when Avengers, they're showing the trailers for Avengers. I was excited the first time they showed it was E3, right? It was at E3.
Yeah.
Then I saw some gameplay like this looks horrible, and I stopped hearing about it. Never looked into it again. So I'd say like movies, I am a little more like I consume a lot of superhero content, even bad superhero content when it comes to media and watching wise. But games, I don't play games that are not fun. It's really hard for me to get through a game that's not good, so I don't buy games that aren't good.
Yeah.
When it comes to Hollywood, Marvel, Disney, and like having the superhero burnout, I would prefer for like a different take on just like the superhero genre, not in the way of that like The Boys has gone, but just like I like superheroes that need some spotlight, that are interesting, and that they could like teach you a lesson, or they have something intrinsic about them. Like Daredevil, I feel like is the best Marvel property that they currently like released.
Absolutely, that was Marvel's best show.
And if we we could talk more about that on the next episode.
Yeah, I guess for just like a last touch, I will say like I was kind of hoping that Moon Knight would have been something like Daredevil.
Moon Knight was also good
because the essence of Moon Knight is a very interesting concept, and I feel like by episode 3 or 4, they just kind of threw it all out the window to be like, yeah, we're going to go into like this dream state, and then at the end, you're going to be flying through the goddamn air with a giant crocodile and a giant moon god fighting in between two pyramids. I was like, oh, that's kind of like, I guess, whatever. I suppose. I guess we're doing this. But like the whole essence of like, there's these split personalities. One's a freaking superhero, and one's like confused about like, what the hell is going on. And then at the end, there's like this third personality that you didn't even know of the entire time. It's a very interesting premise that I felt like they could have gone to places with, but they kind of squandered it a little bit at the end of that first season.
Yeah, that's the problem when you don't want to do the movie, because now they've been transitioning to just doing series because it's a lot better. But we could talk a little bit more about that on the next episode if we feel like it. I love talking about just movies and media and like Hollywood.
Yeah.
But thank you all for joining. I hope you had a good time listening. Remember to always give your criticisms and comments and let us know what you think you would want us to talk about. But I'm John. And
I'm Chris. Remember to eat your vegetables tonight, or whatever time you're listening to this.
And I'm the Jew.
thank you all for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Do you guys have any goodbye messages?
I thought you already ended it.
I don't think so.